Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Italian Tier 9 Tech Tree medium tank, the Standard B. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Standard B. It's a Tier 9 Tech Tree medium tank that's in the Progetto 65 line, and to be honest, it's a tank that I don't realistically think is that good, and a lot of it is down to the fact that the gun can be pretty troll, and also the reload is pretty abysmal. Just like quite a few of the auto-reloaders, realistically, in World of Tanks. The reload isn't that great, because the best reloads that I've got is 11.45 seconds on the best reload, 12.91 seconds on the mid, and 14.37 seconds on the worst. So if you don't know what an auto-reloader is, it means it has a clip, just like an auto-loader, but you can also fire as a single shot, so you can choose to be an autoloader when you need to be, and you can choose to fire single if you need to as well. So as you've seen there, that was a perfect example of it. That Grill 15 got spotted, we fired 2 shells, we didn't fire the last shell, and we pull back and reload behind the ridgeline. And that is what the Standard B and what a lot of the auto reloaders do. And that's why I like the auto reloading system, because it's that flexibility. Yes, you've generally got worse DPM than the standard single shot tanks, right? Or you've got that sort of slightly worse burst potential than a lot of the auto loaders, but on the whole, you can decide where and when you need to use it, and it's that extra bit of skill of knowing where and when to be able to drop a clip and where and when to stick to your higher DPM and fire single shot. The problem is with quite a few of the auto reloaders on console is the fact that their reloads just have come in and then really not very good, and they're way worse. I mean, an 11.45 second reload for 360 Alpha at Tier 9 is really not very good. Considering a tank like the German Tier 9 Tech Tree Leopard PTA is 8.1 seconds for 390 Alpha. It's not even 390 Alpha anymore, it's 420 on the Leopard PTA. So that fires in 8.1 seconds, that's a whole 3 seconds faster. You got the AMX 30, which fires in 7.88 seconds for 390 Alpha, so 30 more Alpha, and again, it's about 3 seconds faster in the reload. Type 61, which isn't even that good of a tank realistically at Tier 9, has a 3.2k DPM, which is 7.29 second reload. Again, you're talking nearly 4 seconds better, you know. UDES 16, 390 Alpha, 8.24 second reload, which, again, 3 and a bit seconds faster with better Alpha. And then you've got the CS 59, which is also just utterly mental with its DPM, which is 6.42 second reload for 390 Alpha, which, yeah, okay, you get to see the point of just how bad the reload is for 360 Alpha on this vehicle. And the reloads do let this vehicle down a hell of a lot, and especially when the gun decides it doesn't want to work, it's pretty damn frustrating. Because the gun on this vehicle does have 0.28 accuracy at 100 meters with the build that I run, which is really good, so when you're fully aimed, it's fine. But it's still one of those guns that it was way worse pre-6.0. Pre-6.0, it hated hitting things, and it would love to hit the floor. Nowadays, it does hit a lot more shots than it used to, but if you don't fire fully aimed, which, you know, is a thing, but I mean, even if it's like slightly off of being fully aimed, it just goes, you know what, that piece of ground there is what I'm going to hit. And with the build that we've got 1.1 accuracy during rotation with a 2.6 accuracy during movement, which, as two statistics, is pretty damn poor. Naturally, I don't run the gun stabilizer because I feel like making it so that I can stay unspotted for longer is better. If you did run the gun stabilizer on the Standard B, you would get the accuracy during rotation down to 0.88 and accuracy during movement down to 2.08, which is a big difference, but it's still pretty poor for a medium tank this day and age. Which means that the gun bloom, or the aiming circle, does still bloom out a lot when you turn the turret and when you're on the move, which just adds to the pain of the vehicle's gun handling at times. As I say, it can just be deeply frustrating to use this gun sometimes. Really can. And you got 2.12 second aim time with the build that I've got as well, which isn't the worst, but it's also not the best, which means you do start to feel the aim time a little bit with how much the gun actually does bloom out. You do have 10 degrees of gun depression, though, which is pretty damn nice. It means you're a very flexible medium tank on a ridgeline, like you're seeing here on Proc, which is always great, just like in any other medium tank, realistically. There's the aim time, by the way, and there's the bloom after we snap the shot, after we've come on the move. Just in action. You do have a 3-second intraclip reload as well for the Standard B, so when you fire a shot, it'll take 3 seconds, then you'll be able to fire the next one. And obviously, the deeper you go into the clip, the worse your reload will be for this tank. You do have 268 penetration on the standard APCR rounds though, which is pretty standard for a Tier 9, Tier 10. medium tank with this kind of gun, but it's very, very nice, and it means you will go through a lot of the tanks that you'll face, and if you really need to, you can just load 330 heat pen, which is what you've got, which is delightful and will butcher absolutely everything. The problem is with this vehicle, because you've got such a long reload, there's not that often where you go, okay, I need heat now, and then you switch to loading a heat clip, because it'll take you forever to actually be able to load that heat clip, which means that the viability of being able to use it is a bit painful. A lot of the time you end up just firing one choice of rounds and that's it, or, you know, that's just the way it goes for you. You do have 1450 meters a second shell velocity on that standard APCR round, though, which is pretty good, and it means that you will be able to lead shots pretty easily at distance. It means you'll be able to hit the shots at targets that are on the move pretty easily as well, because you've got very good shell velocity in that regard. But the heat rounds do go to 925 meters a second shell velocity, which is pretty slow, so bear that in mind, that if you do load the heat rounds, they will fire a lot slower out of your gun than the APCR rounds, which means you'll have to give a lot better lead. By the way, if you're seeing what I'm doing here and I'm just firing into thin air, we've seen the artillery shell tracer. We know he's somewhere in that little region that I've been blind firing, and I'm trying my best to hit the artillery, because hitting them blind is always so satisfied. It's not quite as good as it used to be where, you know, you could actually one-shot them blind or something like that. If I am a racket, you never know. But we're just trying to get a shot in and disturb the artillery to stop him firing at my team, because there's nothing else going off really at this point. There's no one else really spotted, and we're just sort of stuck in a little bit of an awkward moment. But yeah, the standard B generally does go at 65 kilometers an hour as well. You do have a 21.75 horsepower per ton ratio. So on the standard B, you hit 65 kilometers an hour very, very easily. So if you'd want to, because I run the camo net to get the camo down to be pretty good, so that I could sit in situations like you've just seen and not get spotted when I fire and stuff like that. And it means that I can spend longer unspotted and be able to get this really long reload in as well. Gives me that more give in that regard. But if you don't want to spec out for the camo, you could quite easily drop the camouflage net, run a traction system, and you will go at 72 kilometers an hour in this vehicle. You will hit it because your power to weight is good enough, and you could be a very, very, very mobile medium tank. We've just seen the artillery fire again, and we're just not nailing where he is. I'm like, where is he? I'm seeing the shell tracers fire, and I just can't quite gauge the elevation. It's really frustrating, and we are wasting a lot of rounds at this point. And artillery actually fired at us there. He was like, hey, I see what you're doing, friend, and I don't like it. And he shot at us, and unfortunately, well, unfortunately for him, fortunately for me, he missed. But yeah. But this first game on Prokhorovka so far, like I say, we're on 2.5k damage, 848 assistance, and yeah, it's been a bit of a stalemate kind of game where we've just had to be patient. It's been one of those games on Prokhorovka where there's not much happening, and there's not much we can do to affect it at the minute. We just need people to get spotted, because the standard B isn't a tank that wants to be pushing the advantage too much, because, number one, you don't have the reload. Number two, you have zero armor. There's the artillery. Hit it. Yes, we hit it. There we go. You don't really have the armor to up the tempo, so as soon as something looks at you, it will pen you very, very easily. Now, naturally, you do have angles on the tank, like on the turret, which can ricochet shots for you in the standard B, but don't ever rely on it. Like, ever, because it will just let you down and you will get penned very, very easily, and also it likes to lose quite a bit of crew as well when it does get penned. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the old standard B? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, the Advanced Loader, the Camo Net, and Optics. Optics to get myself up to 499 meters of view range that I currently have on this vehicle, which means I can spot for myself very, very well, and especially on a map like this where I can try and push up my spotting, I can try and spot the enemy team when they advance quite aggressively, and I can get a lot of assistance damage in that regards. The Camo Net to knock my camo down to 271 meters of still concealment, and that's mixed with the camouflage expertise and the silent driving. And the silent driving knocks my detectability on the move down to 281 meters of concealment, which is pretty decent. All three gun perks to help this gun out as much as humanly possible, and especially since I don't run the gun stabilizer, that's why I want to run that, so that I can knock the accuracy during rotation and movement and the accuracy at 100 meters down as low as possible. And again, if the gun handling really does troll you and really irritate you in the standard B, definitely drop the camo net and run a gun stabilizer, because that will give you a good effect and that will make it feel a lot better. But also, I just feel like I personally, for me, want to make the camo better so I can stay stealthy a bit longer. And then the advanced loader, because naturally, well, this tank has a terrible reload, so you want to make the reload better, right, as always. So far we're up to 3.2k damage now with 995 assistance, and we've moved onto the opposite flank on Prokhorovka. So I want to push towards their train tracks, and I want to push towards the train tracks to get safe, because I'm pretty sure there is nobody on the hill for their team now. Most of their team seem to be down in the JK123 corner, or on the little ridgeline at on the F line, and I want to see if I can actually find anyone under the bridge or on the train tracks. So the way to push this safely is to drop into this area here that you've seen me drop into, and then we can poke over and spot this little area safely. Now sadly, the gun, you've just seen it there, decided, nah, I don't want to hit the whole side of a 268, that's too easy, and it just missed the whole side of the 268, but then we managed to snipe the cupola, because why not, gun? Thank you so much for that. But that's where the flexibility of the auto-reloader does come in. Yeah, sure, we have a terrible reload, but we missed the first shot, but we knew we could get a second shot in to kill the tank, and we used that ability to do it. But it's currently 6-6. This game is on a knife's edge. There's 4 minutes left, and as we push over, we haven't yet noticed the heavy tank on my right. It's like, well, oh, that is lucky that he didn't managed to get a shot into us. We put a shot into his turret, which puts him down to a 1 shot for the Waffle Panzer IV, and the Waffle Panzer IV finishes off the T58 heavy there. I did just want to put the T58 down a peg on his HP, and that meant that obviously if he was to take a hit from someone, I could also then finish him off with another shot. And if you can take the opportunity to get a shot into someone while they can't retaliate at you, it's always quite a nice thing to do. So we poke over, get spotted by the Centauro 45T, and I'm like, oh no, Mr. Centauro 45T is coming for me. But at the same time, if he does decide to come after me, that would be beneficial for me, because look at the position of my 2 TDs. Got one at F8 and one on the hill. If that Centauro pushes over, both those guys can shoot him. But what I'm going to push for now is to try and see if I can get some shots into the Centauro down the train tracks, because again, we knew where he was, maybe we can catch him out. He gets spotted there, we try and hit him on the move, but naturally my accuracy on the move is abysmal, and we're not helping out the gun stabilizer, so we missed that shot on the Centauro. But we did spot him up for the TD on the hill that did manage to actually get a shot into him. And I'm just trying to work out how we can win this game, because it is a stalemate. It is 5-5 currently. We're up to 3.9k damage with the 1500 assistance. And I want to get rid of this Centauro if I can. In fact, the T30 gets spotted and the gun! Come on! The gun ends up hitting the side of the T30 and did track damage only. And again, I used the time I had there to just dump the clip into the T30 because I did not know how long that guy was going to stay spotted. There's no point firing 1 shot and then waiting for a reload, because by the time I'd probably have reloaded, he would have gotten spotted, because naturally tanks get unspotted after 10 seconds. So with an 11.45 second reload, by the time I've reloaded, that 10 seconds is up and he will get unspotted. So while he was lit, we may as well just dump the clip and get as much of his HP gone as possible on that T30. And that means that he's now a 1 shot for one of the TDs, or he's a 2 shot for me. So I decided to reload the heat clip now, because look, I've got a naturally very, very awkward amount of ammunition left, because I've taken a lot of blind fires in this game and we're running low on ammo. We've got 2 rounds of APCR left in the tank, so there's no point driving around with only 2 shells left in the clip. We may as well reload a heat clip to be able to get a full set in the mag and be ready to go at full capacity. So I decided, okay, it's time to move in. We're going to move in and see if we can spot for our TDs, because we are the guy with the 499 meters view range, and if we can spot for our TDs, they'll feed us some assistance damage, and also we'll be able to, again, win this game, because it is 5-5. It's very, very even. We spot the Centauro, and the shot goes, instead of hitting the side of the Centauro, the shot goes high and hits his turret front and bounces, because this gun. We're currently detected by the artillery, and I don't like that, because naturally the artillery could hit us at any point here. And I'm thinking, right, I kind of want to get to the next ridgeline. Why? Because I can spot possibly the T30 that's in that back corner. I can try and get an awkward angle shot at the Centauro, and it will make it exceptionally awkward for the artillery to hit me, because on that previous ridgeline I was on, the artillery could quite easily just get shots in. We go for the RBRT into the Centauro, but sadly the AAT-60 hits us. The artillery misses though, because like I say, it is a bit more awkward on this ridgeline for the angles for that artillery to actually get a shot at us. And once again, I'm trying to angle for shots at these guys, or try and light them up. We try and get a shot at the Centauro, but we don't get the opportunity to actually shoot him. He misses us, artillery hits us. we're still 5-5. There's 20 seconds left on this game. And I'm like, oh no, I can't die now. If I die, I'm screwed. The Centauro pokes over to get shot at us. There's the random angles that can give us lucky bounces. So we bounce the Centauro. The Grill 15 gets killed. We put a shot into the side of the Centauro. He snapped his shot and ricocheted off our turret, which means we can actually win this if the timer runs out. He pokes over, gets finished off by the 114 SP2, which is the cover I was really hoping for from my TDs in the first place if he was poking over like that, which I feel like he probably should have died earlier, but there we go. We're finished with the victory. 1 kills, 5,003 damage, 1,957 assistance. The first class, the Confederate, 416.47 base XP. A really great game there for the Standard B on Prokhorovka, where we were just trying to find a way to break that game and try and actually win it. We did get very fortunate the Centauro didn't shut us down, but again, I was kind of hoping that the Centauro might actually die a wee bit quicker than he did, because when he was poking over to shoot me, he was pulling over directly in front of both my TDs, and they were the ones that could actually kill him. But luckily, like I say, he did end up getting shut down, and we finished the game with a really nice total. But now we're on to the second replay, and the second replay, we are on Dragon's Ridge. We're Dragon's Ridge in the Standard B again, and we are going to go to the position at E4. Because from E4, we can cut out the people that cross along the BC line and then up the 1 or down the 1-2 line, I suppose, from our angle. And we can get free shots at them. We can cut off that little flank. We've got to be very careful, though, going to the position at E4, because if anyone decides to be very, very aggressive and poke over the little ridge that's directly in front of us, it means that they can also basically just YOLO us and kill us quite easily. But if we have enough people camping in the TD spot that's broken for this spawn, which is where quite a few of them seem to be back at J4, they will also farm them quite easily, and it completely stops their ability to attack this flank. So we end up catching out the Progetto 65, and we put a shot straight through the side of that guy. We are backing up, though, just to make sure that we're going to stay safe from taking any hits, because it's early, right? We don't want to take any unnecessary hits too soon. And we're just being as careful as possible. Because naturally the Progetto 65 is our tier 10 version. His gun's pretty damn good. He has same alpha as me. He has pretty poor reload, just the same as I do. But he does have 1 extra shell in the clip. So I don't want to take a shell where I randomly get tracked and get boned. But he's crossing the open now, directly in front of us. We did get a shot into that 277 as well, which was pretty handy. But we get a shot straight through the side there of the old Progetto 65 who's on the move. As much as we can get shots into this guy while he's moving around and not safe, that's what we want to be doing if possible. But he is in a very awkward position for us now. He's kind of hulled down, but actually he's not really quite hulled down. We actually get shot through the side, and I think, right, maybe I can auto-load and kill this Progetto 65 before he gets safe. But we actually put 2 shots into him, which puts him down to a 1 shot, which is great. But at the same time, not enough to kill him. Just waiting for the aim, and thankfully the shell flies true, and we end up going into a terrible reload, but it was worth it to get rid of that tier 10 Italian medium tank, because, well, getting guns out of the game is always worth it. But now we're stuck in this abysmal reload that the Standard B has, because naturally we did dump the clip to kill the tier 10, but it just means that we're just now having to sit and twiddle our thumbs for about 10 years to be able to actually get back into the game. The reload on this tank is just pretty damn long. I mean, obviously having a bad reload on the second and third shell is always decent for balancing factor of the auto reloaders, right? But the standard reload, like this first shell that we've just loaded now, for saying we miss shots like that where RNG says no, that 11.45 second reload can be so painful at times for the Standard B. So we're just waiting for the reload again. We fired too soon. That's something you can do quite often in auto reloaders if you're not careful, is I preempted my reload. So when I took a shot there at that 277, I pulled the trigger just a split second too soon, which meant that I completely reset that second reload, and then we've gone back to the terrible reload once again. Something that you've got to be very, very careful of with the auto reloaders is making sure that you're not preempting your reload, not firing before you're loaded, fully loaded that is, and then you're not stuck with the terrible reload that you could end up in. So you just got to be very, very careful of doing that, because it's pretty frustrating when you do it, and especially if you miss that shot as well. Oh boy. But the 277 gets shut down by the 121, and we've got a UDES 16 in front of it. It's like, hello, Mr. UDES 16. We try and get the tracking shot, but sadly, we don't quite get it in. We were still detected there when we were poked over, and I was thinking, was that the UDES looking at me, or is there still something else at the back? Because TDs do like to go sit at B7, but since we are not getting shot at yet, I think, okay, I can push the tempo at the UDES-16 in this M60, because these guys are in a good position for me to be able to shoot, and we're not getting shot by anything from where I'd expect TDs to be sat. So we put a shot into the UDES-16, he did put a shot into us, which was really unfortunate. It would have been nice not to lose that 300, 400 odd hit points, but I don't want to dump my whole clip at this point. I want to be able to just keep holding my reload. If I can get this guy into a position to be clipped out, that'd be pretty good. But once again, I could clip him out now, but I don't want to do it unless I have to. The M60 gets shut down by the 1-2-1, and we nearly got the full reload in, so we can poke over, shut down the UDES-16, and get rid of him. The 4005 appears, and I decide, okay, you know what? We've got an opportunity to put a shot into the 4005. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to put a shot into the 4005, knock his hit points down a little bit, because every little bit of hit points bled from a 4005 is a very good thing. We got detected there when nothing else seemed to be looking at us, so I thought, I wonder if there's something now actually at B7 that was possibly seeing us that has just moved there. So I don't want to stick in that position that I was in a second ago. I wanted to go back to my safety, back to my safe side of the ridgeline, and especially if anything like that 4005 or that Campy Panzer we were just looking at attacks over the ridgeline at E45, they are going to get shot by where the majority of my team is currently at this point, which is the sad part of Dragon's Ridge, because this always happens. And that is from my spawn. A lot of my team are still sat at J4. They've not moved. They've just stayed there. Because that back line is so hard to actually spot anything on that back line. And they can stay safe and farm things if they get spotted pushing over towards them. So a lot of people, especially in TDs and medium tanks, will just go sit there and just not move, which can be pretty awkward for you, especially if you're playing in the more aggressive positions. Say aggressive positions. We're in the middle of the map. It's not really that aggressive, but yeah. We're up to 4.4k damage with 1,147 assistance, and we're just being as careful as possible because, like I say, the 4005 is he could just go, hello, one shot, and we don't want that. They've got an AVRE over there as well, which again could go, hello, and one shot us, and we don't want that. We know there's a TD spotted towards our cap. He's still spotted towards a cap. We could get into a position to maybe get him into render range. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to back up and see if I can get this guy into render range and get some shots into him. Because if he gets spotted up by my team back there, I could help them out and get rid of it. Because also, he will probably be spotting them in that campy position, which means the people like the 4005, the Campy Panzer, the AVRE, that was up at F7, could be shooting at them. And we need them to stay alive, just as much as they need us, right? But the tank didn't get spotted. And in fact, the Campy Panzer's pushed into a very aggressive spot. So it's like, okay, Mr. Campy Panzer, I see you. What I'm going to do is push after him. Oh, boy, that could end badly. Oh, my lord, how did we survive? That could have been bad. That could have been really bad. But it's fine. It's fine. The 4005 gets spotted in a very aggressive position. We're just looking to see if we can find the shot. There we go. Fully aimed. The shot straight through the 4005's turret. He's pushing out into a very silly position, which means he dies there. Their Tyran that was down in our cap is also dead. 4005 dead means that we are now safe from getting one shot from the spot where... Basically, I was afraid of going after the Kampfpanzer over the ridgeline where we've been sitting originally, because that 4005 could have just poked over and gone, ah, boom, and I didn't want that. But now the 4005 is gone, we can safely take this position and counter the Kampfpanzer, which is exactly what we did, and the Kampfpanzer gets shut down by the 4202. Something is still looking at us from the distance. It's like, that's our AVRE. I know it is. I know he wants to HE me. I don't want to get HE'd by him. So we just wait behind the ridgeline where we know we're safe until we get unspotted. And now we can push towards where these guys are. And there's the AVRE. He's in a very open position at G7. But we can't quite see his tank, and it's like, why can't I see it? There must... he's round the hill just about. If he was a bit further round the hill, we could actually probably get easily shots into his side and rear, and that would be great, because getting rid of the AVRE is also always a priority. You never want the AVREs to be alive, but they are also the only two tanks left alive on their team, is the two medium tanks, so we just got to be careful, because, again, that 165mm gun can just change this game in the blink of an eye. He gets spotted again right around the corner, which means it's safe for us to push up. And we don't know where the other guy is. So we do have to be very, very careful at this point. But I want to try and get up behind the AVRE. So we're going to push across, see if we can get behind him and get some shots in. But there's the other AVRE. It's like, oh boy, he's still here. Oh no, 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 no. And unfortunately for the 4202, he gets AVRE'd, but we know the AVRE's fired. So it's time to go after him. We've got a clip. We know he's reloading. We know we're going to be able to clip him out way before he gets the shot in, or gets the HE shell into his clip, into his gun, whatever you want to call it. And therefore, we managed to poke round, get 2 shots into his side with our clip, and finish off the raid boss. Good night, Mr. AVRE. It's always satisfying when you get rid of AVREs. Always. There's only the 1 tank left on the enemy team, though. It is the other AVRE. He's been closed down by our 2 medium tanks. But maybe I can still get behind him. But no, in fact, the T-62 ends up shutting him down. But we did finish the game with a really, really nice total there for the Standard B. Finished with the victory. 3 kills, 6.2k damage, 1147 assistance. The ace tank of the high caliber, the sniper, with the 1979 base XP. A pretty damn nice game there for the Standard B, which is just a pretty awkward tank to use because the reload and the gun can be so frustrating. It's just one of those really, really awkward tier 9 mediums. But, yeah. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success.